Hey, ladies and gentlemen, so it's time to take a look at A Priest Walks into a Graveyard. Great game title, interesting little game, but I'm going to tell you right now, I just finished the gameplay and I don't know how I feel about this one in a lot of ways. Did I enjoy it? Yes. Let's get that on the table right away. I did enjoy this game, but you have to remember, I just tried playing Mad Hack where I lost I don't know how much of my life just trying to get the game to do anything, and it didn't. It's not really a game, so terrible. And then I played Omega Mouse, and again, just wow, really a bad game, not very fun at all. I really just had a bad time with it, you know, teeny tiny arena shooter. Yeah, this is bad. And so, you know, chances are the next game that I played after that I would enjoy more if the game was even halfway decent. And this game is more than halfway decent, and so of course I'm kind of like having to reassess my own enjoyment of it because I played some terrible games and now I'm playing this one. And as you might be able to tell by now, because we're fully a minute and a half and I haven't really said anything specific about the game, this is a Vampire Survivorslike, if that makes sense. If you played Vampire Survivors, this is that game, but with massive scan lines. You know, I don't know what system this is trying to emulate because I haven't played any, you know, I've played games on a lot of old computers and old video game consoles. I own a fair number of old computers and old video game consoles, and yeah, I don't recognize this graphical style. If you do, maybe tell me what it is, because it's interesting. I will give it that. It feels very old school. And yeah, you're wandering around, you are the priest in the graveyard, and you just go full Vampire Survivors on an increasingly nightmarish group of zombies. It gets to be an absurd number of zombies. Yeah, you know, my first couple playthroughs that I got footage of, I didn't do particularly well. I was staying alive for about a minute at a time. My third playthrough, I stayed alive for over 6 minutes, which is, you know, almost enough, though not quite, to get you into the top 20, into the leaderboard, because this game does have online leaderboards, and after every death, you know, like you get to figure out where you fall on the leaderboard. Well, actually, it doesn't give you a number if you're not in the top 20, so it's kind of like, well, here's how people did who did well. And you can look at guys who have, you know, stayed alive for like half an hour at a time, and so, you know, Lord knows how crazy the gameplay would have been at that point. So you wander around the graveyard, you try not to get hit by zombies because you have a finite amount of life. You get to throw crosses, and the crosses you can mow down the zombies with, of course. And every time you up a level, which you start doing very quickly early on, to the point where, you know, you should really be careful not to accidentally click through, as I did, the first couple of level ups, because I don't know what I selected in terms of power-ups. There are a number of power-ups, and you really have to be smart about how you choose them. Same with Vampire Survivors. I said this is a Vampire Survivors like. So, you know, you are wandering around this graveyard, increasing number of enemies. Every time you level up, you get to choose one of 3 possible, buffs for your character, which you don't know what they're going to do necessarily early on, especially. I found out that the sword increases your attack power, the cross and the watch increases the amount of time that each cross is on screen. The multiple crosses indicates that you're adding another cross that you're throwing. There are a number of others that I semi-figured out over the course of playing, just in observing what change came after I applied each buff. And some of them you really can't tell. There is an HP regeneration, which you will desperately need later in the game, so and you're not necessarily going to be leveling up as much later in the game, so good idea to start grabbing those as soon as you can, and then you can start surviving and wandering around and shooting hordes of zombies. And it's an auto shooter, that much is true, so you're just controlling the direction and the auto shooting happens. And it's a little harder to control than Vampire Survivors, but it feels reasonable given the graphical style, so it kind of fits with the feeling of the game. So yeah, all of that is really good, except for, like, it's not quite... the idea of taking an existing gameplay style and then putting it into these kind of graphics, interesting choice, and a lot of the enemies look really cool when you get the weird, slow, crawling, massive zombies that are coming after you and never relent till you kill them, and they got a bajillion HP. Yeah, things get really interesting the later in the game you get, and that makes it fun. I did say that I had fun playing this game, but I also have a problem with it in that let's confront an ugly truth that none of us like very much, and that is that Vampire Survivors gets tedious, and you go from like loving it to being like, oh boy, I can't wait for this round to end. Oh, I leveled up again. Well, what am I going to choose? Oh, look, I'm just killing them even worse now. Like, at a certain point, you're like, I've been alive for like 37 minutes and the screen is just a blur and I'm not really doing anything, but I'm completely overpowered and it's a problem, like... At a certain point, that's how you get in Vampire Survivors, and you get to a point where you're kind of like, oh, I hope I die soon, and that's not what you want in a game. And I think that is the fatal flaw of Vampire Survivors, a game that I was very bullish on when I first started playing it. I was so excited. I couldn't wait to play that game for the 3, 4, 5 days that I was like really hooked on it. And then after that 5th day, I was just like, I don't want to do this again. I want to put this away for a while and see if I want to come back to it. And so far I haven't played a single round of Vampire Survivors. And playing this game did not make me want to go back to Vampire Survivors. So you're asking me, do I want to play more of a game that is a low graphical version of a game that, while high quality and while undeniably fun and cool and interesting and kind of invented its own new thing, while that is true, it's also got a massive flaw in the very conception of the game, in that you get tired of it. It reminds me, this is the most perfect way that I can say it, is with a Mitch Hedberg joke. If you don't know Mitch Hedberg as a comedian, you are missing out. like quite possibly the funniest man who ever lived. It's either him or Norm Macdonald, one or the other. They're both sadly dead now. But like, anyway, so Mitch Hedberg said, you know, in comedy, you gotta start strong and finish strong. You can't be like pancakes, all exciting at first, but by the end, you're freaking sick of them. Like, that's what it is. That's what it is. That's also how pancakes work. You know, you go someplace that's like unlimited pancakes, and you're like, I am so hungry for pancakes. I love pancakes. I'm gonna eat my own body weight in pancakes. And then by your like second and a half pancake, you're like, why did I ever like pancakes? Like pretty soon the very sight of pancakes, you're like, I'm done. I'm good on the pancakes. Anyway, so yeah, this game has that problem. So even though it's fun, and even though it's a good idea, and even though it looks fun and is fun, I can't put it into like solidly recommending this game for every winter Steam sale for the rest of ever. I can't put it in that category. Let's find out where I do put it. I don't know why I'm slurring my words and going into accents and whatnot. It's a problem. Alright, so final score. I'm giving A Priest Walks into a Graveyard a 7 out of a possible 10 Google Stadia controllers. Just a half a controller away from being in the zone where I would be recommending it to you for every Steam winter and summer sale for the rest of ever. But yeah, it's not quite there. It's really close. If you wanted to pick up this game, I would think none the less of you. If you are like, hey, I still play Vampire Survivors, then you should definitely get this game if you think it looks cool. It's pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie. It's not fun. It's just a smidge under where I would like a game to be for me to recommend it for the rest of time. Anyway, people, that's gonna do it for this one. I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.